I saw the plane flying over me. All of a sudden, it went into a dive.
This is the map we're working with.
French air crash investigators from the BEA are responsible for figuring out what went wrong.
It went down right here.
Sébastien David leads the investigation.
The first phase of the sea search operations was finding precisely where the wreckage was.
David and his team are under enormous pressure.
I want you to mobilize all the resources.
The A320 is one of the industry's most popular passenger planes.
A large number of this kind of aircraft has been sold all over the world.
It's also the first airliner to use advanced computerized controls.
With the A320, automation flies the airplane the majority of the time.
If there's a problem with the plane's high-tech flight computers, many more lives could be at risk. Investigators need to find the cause of the crash quickly, before it happens again. No one has survived the crash of XL Airways Flight 888. Grieving families arrive in France to recover the bodies of their loved ones.
I didn't expect to be on my own at 34 like this.
Air New Zealand executives are also on the scene.
My commitment to the families was I want to stay here until we can bring our boys home, or we're in a position to determine that that's not possible.
What on earth is an acceptance flight?
The unusual nature of the flight presents an extra challenge for investigators.
We did not have any reference for that kind of flight. There was no defined framework.
No one may ever know what the crew was doing unless they can find the plane's flight recorders.
We have to send the divers under the sea to find the plane.
But bad weather is making it nearly impossible for divers to locate the wreckage.
With a worsening forecast, the search and rescue teams have re-emphasised personally to me that there is real urgency behind their efforts to locate the two flight recorders.
Jan Torres leads the recovery effort.
Most of the time there was severe wind and swells on the surface, which made visibility on the bottom deplorable. That is only 50 centimeters to a meter.
Searchers turn to sonar to hunt for debris from the plane on the sea floor.
This was possible thanks to a minesweeper from the Navy. By using sonar, we were able to identify the larger pieces of wreckage.
But finding the wreckage is only half the battle. Bringing it to the surface will take more time.
It was climbing like this when you saw it?
Investigators ask witnesses to describe the motion of the plane.
Some of them related an unusual flight path.
Witnesses say it was climbing here, and they were descending here. Right here, it looks like they lost control of the plane.
Those testimonies were very important for the beginning of the investigation.
Investigators wonder if the pilots lost control attempting a risky flight test. They ask controllers what they know.
They wanted to do some 360s.
We're an acceptance flight.
So it would be nice if you could give us some airspace to do a few procedures.
I told them no way.
They learned the pilots asked permission to perform some tests, but that the controller turned them down.
We are not doing this kind of flight, sir.
So, no worries. We'll just head back to Perpignan.
If the test flight was called off, there must be another explanation for the plane's unusual flight path. 3 days after the crash, a major breakthrough. The recovery team finds the black boxes. The flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder may hold the clues investigators need.
Nice and easy.
Joan Condet is a BEA investigator.
The recorders were recovered very quickly, which made us think that we would be able to recover the data on the recorders just as quickly.
The boxes are drenched in seawater. The memory cards need to be dried out before the data can be recovered.
We open it. We remove the various layers of protection that the memory card is wrapped in. And once the card has been extracted, we dry it, and then we read it out.
But this time, it doesn't work.
Damn it. There must still be some moisture in there.
We weren't able to recover the data. And we have a laboratory designed just for that job. So it was very frustrating.
Investigators suspect moisture could be trapped deep in the electronics. Desperate to know what the pilots of Flight 888 were doing, they take the boxes to their US manufacturer.
Honeywell has special equipment for reading the cards individually. It seemed to us the quickest way to recover the data.
While they wait for word on the data, investigators turn to the wreckage recovered from the sea floor. They focus on pieces from the engines. If the engines failed, it could explain why the plane fell into a fatal dive. Bent blades from the engine turbines provide an important clue.
We could see significant damage inside the turbines, and this suggests the engines were at significant speed of rotation at impact.
The type of damage tells investigators that the engines were working properly when the plane hit the water.
No sign of any problems here. Okay, the engineers worked on these for 3 weeks.
Investigators study the A320's maintenance records.
See if we can find something, okay?
They know that engineers spent 3 weeks preparing the plane for its return to the Air New Zealand fleet. If the aircraft had a mechanical problem or defect, there should be a record of it in the file. But there's nothing that even hints at a problem with the plane.
Anyone, anything, nothing.
They were comfortable that the airplane was not only safe to fly, but in condition that matched the contractual obligations.
Investigators still have no idea what brought down Flight 888, so getting the black box data is more important than ever.
It was a big frustration. We were sure that the flight recorders data would help us to understand what happened, but we had to wait.
Six weeks after the crash, the water-soaked flight recorders are repaired, and investigators can finally listen to the conversations captured in the cockpit.
We're an acceptance flight, so it would be nice if you could give us some airspace
to do a few procedures.
What they hear confirms that the controller didn't give the crew permission to fly any tests.
We cannot allow test flights in
general air traffic. We cannot do this kind of flight, sir.
Then they hear something disturbing.
We haven't done a VHF-3 yet, have we?
Got to do a call on that.
Despite the controller's refusal, the crew continues testing the plane.
Okay, we can do the VHF-3.
Stop. Play that back.
Investigators listen and take note of the tests the crew performed.
Okay, we can do the VHF-3.
Navigation systems, 2.
The fact that the ACC controller did not allow the crew to perform the 360 led to a situation where the crew had to improvise to be able to follow the flight program.
AAA Tango, descend flight level 310 and turn right.
Turning right inbound, AAA Tango.
The crew finds a way to fit some tests in while they fly back to Perpignan.
Okay, that's good. During the turn, let's roll to 33, then to 45.
A right turn gives the captain a chance to test the system that prevents the plane from banking too steeply.